So Oregon dairy is raw dairy. I guess it's legal there. I know some states it's kind of illegal. I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation.
It's kind of illegal. There's some places here you can get it. I need to convert more to that. I really haven't done that the justice. My husband has, poor guy. He met me right before the pandemic hit, and I had to indoctrinate him into all my ways very quickly. And he's come around. He's on it. He's on the tip. but the whole raw dairy thing, it's funny. We have an organic dairy farm down the road. I need to go make friends with them is I think more the deal. But because you probably know more, when dairy is pasteurized, it changes the protein fold, right? It folds differently. And then our bodies acknowledge it as foreign. And that's where we start to get some of these unfavorable allergic or intolerant responses. Whereas in raw dairy, that doesn't seem to be such an issue. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, I really don't have a great deal of insight into that, surprisingly. I see people that struggle with dairy, from both directions, quite honestly. It's one of those things where I think we still have a lot to learn on that. I mean, I know that there are some people that are very strong advocates for raw dairy that say that it's helped them tremendously. There are also people that I think the knocks against raw dairy being that people can get infections from it. There's Campylobacter or I think Listeria or something. Some of the things that have been associated with that. It tends to be very, very infrequent. I mean, the number of people that have gotten dairy infections in the U.S. is something like the number of people that have been struck by lightning. It's so rare. It's not a common thing. The people that do get infections from dairy, they tend to be more rare, more likely associated with raw dairy, but it's so infrequent overall that it's like, is it really an issue? I don't know that it really is. And so,
I think they're just trying to scare us.
Well, I've not seen people have issues with dairy, raw dairy. I've just not seen somebody come down with some infection. I know it exists. I just haven't seen it happening. And so, it's interesting with that. So anyway, interesting topic. What you'd mentioned, as far as training other providers to succeed online. Is that what you're doing now? You're basically working more with physicians or what are you doing?
Yeah. So I've got a couple things going. So I have a line of supplements that I sell online as part of my online business, if you will. I have a membership called Resiliency University where that's literally what it is. I'm just trying to educate people on topics to become more resilient in the world. And then so that's my public facing so that I'm trying to help humans survive this zombie apocalypse that we're going through. And then on the professional side of practitioners, just all health professionals. So health coaches, nutritional therapists, doctors of any kind, teaching them how to build out an organic arm of their online business, because I think they get, I think in this new world, as we move forward, that's going to be even more and more critical as the years pass of just being able to reach the public in a big way. And plus, it's just a great way it's outreach, right? Like you get to be of service, you get to touch more lives, you get to help more people when you go online and you can create a ton of free content. And that will always, when you put good out in the world, it always comes back, right? So it always comes back, and these doctors always become much more successful financially, but ultimately they're helping, that hundreds and thousands of people is the goal versus one-on-one all day.
Yeah. You said that obviously there's criticism that comes. I mean, I've been, I think a day doesn't go by where I have somebody criticizing me about something, which I don't really care about. I mean, it's like, fine, at least I'm out here trying to make a difference. What have, you said you've gone through some of that yourself?
Yeah. So I've always been kind of the one that points out the giant elephant in the room. I don't know. That's just I'm like, hey, what's happening here? Why is nobody talking about this? And then COVID hit, and it wasn't adding up for me, what we were being fed. And really what was not adding up for me was they were closing the gyms down and they were telling people to stay inside, and they weren't talking about any of the basic things that we can do to make ourselves more resilient. So it's nothing to do with treatment, prevention, or cure of a virus. It has everything to do with making the host harder to kill. And so I just came out gunning with what I thought was helpful information. Basically what you say, eat meat and lift weights and lose fat, because fat is inflammatory. And it clearly COVID was doubling down on those who had extra adiposity and blood sugar issues. So, and that's what 94% of the US adults have some kind of metabolic dysfunction at this point. So, you know, I knew it was going to be troublesome for the US, and it has proven to be very troublesome. So just basic common sense. And man, did they come at me. And boy, do they still come at me. They can't, you know, the minute you lay out the your health is your responsibility card, people lose their minds for various reasons. I get it. Our food supply is adulterated. Our medical system is broken. The average human has really got to educate themselves. That's why it's so cool to see all these people here educating themselves. This is really the only way to get through. I think the only way out is through. And the only way to do that is to have a basic understanding of nutrition, understand, hopefully learning your way around the weight room a little bit, prioritizing the things we've talked about here, and making a commitment to live that way and to mirror that for your family. As you know, we can't change their behavior, but we can, we sure can show them how it's done, and just be the example. And then hopefully, my mentor used to always say, you know, see one, do one, teach one. So if I can infiltrate people's brains with the truth, then hopefully they can go spread that through their communities too. And we can all be of service and we can all be helpful.
I mean, you were a vegetarian. You said you were 14. Your father was a meat producer, and you were kind of in that. I mean, there seems to be this sort of ideology associated with diet now.
It's interesting, you know, my profession. So I'm a chiropractor and I'm a naturopathic physician, but the naturopathic doctors really drank the Kool-Aid early on in this. And it was shocking to see, because I thought naturopaths are going to save the world. Like, we know how to deal with viruses. We know how to get people through this. This is going to be great. And they all just turned on me very quickly. And that, I mean, it was crazy. I was like their sweetheart until I wasn't singing their song. And then they turned, and they predominantly, not all of them, but they predominantly have drank the Kool-Aid. And so many of them are so unhealthy themselves. It's been so interesting because they scream at me whenever I talk about needing adequate animal protein because it's cost prohibitive and it's not inclusive because not everybody can afford it. They scream at me when I talk about strength training because not everybody has access to a gym. Not everybody has mobility. I'm ableist. They've called me ableist, eugenist, diabetes privilege. I mean, this is all coming directly from colleagues in my profession that are naturopathic physicians, where our entire paradigm is to treat the root cause and to teach patients how to live in accordance with, you know, nature and holistically, and trusting their body and harnessing the inherent ability to heal through lifestyle, nutrition, and exercise. So it's been really interesting, because I feel like that's what I'm preaching. Yeah, it's like the true inherent tenets of naturopathic medicine, and yet the naturopathic doctors are quite angry about it.